8th in Cincinnati. Mike Matheny's club, as we speak, one game in front of Pittsburgh. The 26-year-old from Oceanside, California, Trevor Cahill, the righty, gets the call tonight for Arizona.
He's had a tough season. He's 3-12 with a 5.55 ERA. He's been in the rotation, in relief, back in the rotation. A lot of injuries here, but he has really struggled as a starter. He is 2-10 as a starter with a 6.28 ERA. He's got a good sinking fastball and a very good changeup. Those changeups could be very important in tonight's game for both sides.
And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Cardinals struck out 30 times in the 3 games against the Cubs.
That's not the Cardinals. You know, they usually put the ball in play, and I think a lot of it has to do with Carpenter setting the tone.
Chop towards the second baseman, Ahmed, and he makes the play. A look at the Cardinals lineup tonight. John Jay due up second, followed by the red-hot Matt Holliday. Then Matt Adams, Johnny Peralta, Yadier Molina. The Cardinals are 7 games above 500 since he returned. Randall Grichuk, Colton Wong, and the pitcher Michael Wacha is batting ninth. John Jay has rejoined the club after dealing with a personal matter and a strike at the knees. He's hitting .302 with 3 homers, and he's driven in 45.
It's real simple, Dan. The Cardinals just need to win.
Floating down the left field line, slicing foul.
Cardinals win their ball game. You know, there's no way Pittsburgh can catch you. They're playing great baseball, but Cardinals need to pick up the pace, and it's in their own hands.
The Cardinals need to improve on the road in these final 3 games. Since July 29th, they're 10-16 away from Busch Stadium, and they can point the finger at the offense, having hit just .216 in that time frame.
And the alarming thing too, Dan, is they're against losing ball clubs that they're losing series to.
There's Alan Trammell. He is the interim manager here with the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you missed the news earlier, Kirk Gibson was fired. Trammell fired as well. However, he said that he will stay on for the final 3 games. Could you have imagined that Tony La Russa would get in uniform for the final 3 games for Arizona?
Well, Tony did say that that was never under consideration, but that would have been interesting.
Holy cow. Swung on and missed, and a strikeout of John Jay. Arizona defensively, Enciarte is the left fielder. A.J. Pollock is in center. David Peralta in right. Lamb, Gregorius, Ahmed, Trumbo, the former Angel at first. Miguel Montero, a good one behind the plate.
And they've committed 100 errors on the season, but they have played 10 straight errorless games. A lot of injuries. Some of those players you don't know. They've had 15 different disablements and lost over almost 1,400 games.
That pitch is popped up. Roof is closed tonight. Playable. Trumbo is there, and a 1-2-3 inning for Trevor Cahill. Michael Wacha to the mound when we come back. Ender Enciarte, a left-handed hitting hitter, will bat leadoff, and then A.J. Pollock and David Peralta. Mark Trumbo has been red hot. Last 11 games, 4 home runs. Miguel Montero, Jake Lamb, Nick Ahmed, Didi Gregorius, and Trevor Cahill. That 9 will face right-hander Michael Wacha.
Michael Wacha's numbers, he's still looking for his first victory on the road. 0-6 on the road, but it's not always his fault. We all know about him missing 2.5 months with the stress reaction in the scapula. He's 0-1 with an ERA over 6 since returning in his 3 starts, but he is full gorilla today. Full gorilla, as Mike Matheny describes it. No pitch count. He can go as long and as hard as he possibly can. And what he has been plagued with is his signature pitch is a changeup. He hasn't discovered that since coming back.
That pitch at 94 miles an hour. Enciarte, a 13-game hitting streak, which he's hit .389. That's the second longest in franchise history. He owns the longest, which was earlier this year. He had an 18-game hitting streak.
And they said he's taken a lot of the suspense out of this 10 times in the 13-game hitting streak. He's got the hit the first time up.
He's taken the suspense on getting to number 14. Leadoff base hit. Leads their club in stolen bases, by the way, with 19. He's been caught 3 times. Cardinals defensively, Holiday in left, Jay in center, Grichuk is in right. Carpenter, Peralta, Wong, and Adams along the infield, and Molina is behind the plate. A.J. Pollock has reached base safely in 18 of his last 19 games. And batting .307. Well, you may wonder about the timing of the firing of Kirk Gibson. And Ken Rosenthal of Fox Sports has reported that if the option on his contract, or if he wasn't told that he was coming back, wouldn't have been picked up by today, then he's out, or it kicks in for 2 more years. So
talking about Kirk Gibson.
Yeah, that's why they made the decision, and Kirk Gibson out. And the big question, I think, at this point is, does it motivate this team in the final 3 games?
Well, you know, a lot of times when you make a managerial change, it does jumpstart a young club. And remember, they're playing in front of a new general manager too, Dave Stewart. So you got a lot of young players that are going to be very hungry. And you know, Tony La Russa, you know, fierce competitor as a manager. You know, he's got these guys chomping at the bit. There you see Dave Stewart in the background there, the new general manager.
Taken high, and on 4 pitches, a walk. Well, Kirk Gibson, his reign is through as the manager here with the Arizona Diamondbacks. In a full season, he was never under 500 until this year, which will not be a full year because of the 3 games that he'll miss this weekend. But the West Division Championship in 2011, and relieved of his duties today. Arizona's worst season, by the way, they were 51-111, and at the start of play tonight, 63-96. And here is David Peralta, who's 5th in the National League with 9 triples, and Molina out to visit right away.
Well, we've talked about the fact that Michael Wacha's had trouble with his changeup, but part of the dealing with a changeup is you have to have good fastball command. If you got good fastball command, then your changeup becomes even more effective. And he's been struggling trying to throw the fastball where he wants it at times. So it makes the changeup ineffective. And then he has to only go to his curveball, which is much improved this year.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. It's 6 straight balls, and normally when Michael Wacha, and again it's a small sample size because he's been injured this year and pitched only a part of last season, but when he's right, usually his command is spot on.
Exactly. And you can tell they're already concerned.
Two balls and a strike. Peralta is the everyday right fielder now, and in this lineup there are 5 left-handed bats for Arizona.
Very interesting. David Peralta signed with the Cardinals back in 2004 as a pitcher. Spent about 3 years in the Cardinals minor league system as a pitcher, hurt his arm, went back to Venezuela, and started trying to become a position player and worked his way all the way through the independent leagues, and now you find him in the big leagues and here batting third for the Diamondbacks.
A 3-1 pitch. Popped foul and out of play. You mentioned it, this team has been besieged with injuries. Over 1,300 games in terms of individual players missed this year. The rookies, they lead the major leagues in this category. They played in 638 games individually and then add them up, but that's an awful lot of rookies in their lineup.
And that's why Tony La Russa, when he took over as the CEO of the ball club, really the first month, he just observed, probably went through all the minor leagues, didn't really do many changes, but they're going to be a complete overhaul here.
3-2, he walked him. Not the kind of start Walker or the Cardinals were anticipating. Bases loaded, Mark Trumbo. Derek Lilliquist out to visit. You know, I bring this up and I say, what kind of pressure is Michael Walker feeling, knowing that this is a very important start for him in terms of postseason? But you know, last year he pitched in an elimination game. He twice faced Clayton Kershaw, and he won a World Series game.
And it was the MVP of the League Championship Series. So obviously he can handle pressure. What you don't know is, can he handle the fact that he knows he doesn't have his best stuff, and you're trying to pitch without that good stuff.
Bases loaded, nobody out. A curveball just spinning to the top of the zone. Trumbo 1 for 8 with a grand slam and 5 RBIs with the bases loaded this year. And a high fly ball lifted into deep right center field. Jay is there, makes the catch. Runners will tag up from second and third. 1-0 Arizona. Mark Trumbo with his 17th RBI in the last 12 games. And with that, we turn to Al Raboski's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, the offense, you want to get them to get the ball up from KO. He's a sinker ball pitcher, one of the top sinker ball pitchers in the game. So get the ball up, and then you can, you'll have success. Walker rediscovered the changeup. We talked about you have to have fastball command. You have to be able to be in good counts. But if he doesn't have that changeup, and then if he's spinning that curveball, it could be a short night for Michael Walker.
Swung on and missed by Montero. Paul Goldschmidt is not in this lineup, and he is sorely missed. He played 109 games this year and still leads their club in home runs with 19. Goldschmidt had 69 RBIs. They're 21 games below 500 with him not in the lineup. So Montero, with him out, leads the club in those categories. 13 home runs, 71 driven in.
And they were hoping that Trumbo would be protection for Paul Goldschmidt, but Trumbo, who just hit the sacrifice fly, he had a stress fracture in his foot. Moved him from left field to first base with Goldschmidt on the DL and through for the year. He had 36 home runs to tie Pedro Alvarez last year for the lead in the National League.
Here's an 0-2. So 1-2 the count with one out, runners at first and third. 1-0 Arizona. Ironically enough, it was the Pittsburgh Pirates that hit Paul Goldschmidt, and now they need Arizona to win this weekend. Pitch number 19 of this first inning. Two and two.
Changeup does look better tonight than what we've seen, but if they're seeing it come out of his hand, they can lay off at 2. It doesn't help.
A 2-2 pitch. Ripped into center field. 2-0 Arizona. Montero with RBI number 72. 2 hits, 2 walks, 2-run lead.
Now the Cardinals are going to have to score. They're trying to go inside with a fastball, and you see that ball kind of drifting over the middle of the plate, sliding in the middle of the plate.
There's Jake Lamb, who's hitting .237. Third baseman with 4 home runs. He's driven in 11. Runners at first and second, and the breaking ball drops in for a strike. Well, if you can eliminate one of his pitches, obviously Michael Wacha becomes that much more hittable. And right now he's not established a curveball. The changeup hasn't been there. They sit on a fastball.
And then you miss location, you know, and you got to keep it over the middle of the plate. You know, it all submarines on you, but there's still, there's, you know, the competitor that he is, he's going to regroup in this ball game. Just try and keep it right there, 2-0.
Off the glove of Wacha, out at second, and a double play. 1, 4, 6, 3 on the double play. Boy, did Wacha need that. Game back of St. Louis. They'll have Francisco Liriano going tomorrow. Scheduled to make that start, Alfredo Simon, but that's up in the air.
Simon tweaked his calf or lower leg in the start against St. Louis, and so it's questionable whether he will make that start. One of the things the Cardinals do have going for him is Johnny Cueto is scheduled to start on Sunday, and he's going for his 20th win, so you know it'd be all hands on deck. But I understand that Frazier pinch hit in the game today, so he didn't start it. And I was told that Mesoraco, Hamilton, and Chapman are hurt and will not play this weekend.
Wow.
So don't expect much help from Cincinnati.
Garrett Cole and Johnny Cueto would be Sunday. Liriano has just been terrific as of late. His record is 7 wins, 10 losses, but recently he has been their best pitcher. That pitch inside to Matt Adams, and it evens up the count at 2-2.
That's a good thing, Dan, about a veteran pitcher like Liriano. You know, you can have a bad start to the season, but he can close with a finish, and you know he can be, like you said, one of their aces. Even though his numbers don't reflect it, it's what he does down the stretch.
Well, you mentioned the numbers here for Trevor Cahill, who at one point was designated for assignment earlier this year. You get the feeling the Cardinals will have their chances tonight. So a leadoff walk, and it brings in Johnny Peralta, and the tying run will come to the plate.
And I really think that Michael Wacha is going to settle down. So just start packing away, try and get back into this ball game. You knew you had to score anyway, but you see his last 3 starts really struggling, and he's elevating the ball, and that's not good news for a sinker baller.
His best season was in 2010. All-Star campaign with Oakland. That pitch will get away. Adams advancing to second base. That year, 18-8. He was in the top 5 of ERA, and actually received some votes for the Cy Young Award. He was then traded here to Arizona for Ryan Cook, Jared Parker, Colin Cowgill, and then earlier this season designated for assignment. And the Diamondbacks are trying to get his sinker right. That's his bread and butter pitch.
Got to get up on top of it, and then, you know, if you're throwing high sinkers, you're probably throwing high changeups.
What has plagued him in his career, I was going back and looking at his career numbers, and it's been at times an issue this season, but he has issued, Al, 3 or more walks. 3 or more walks in 40% of his starts of his career.
Yeah, they add up when you start giving up those free passes. Well, remember, he's a contact pitcher. You know, he's going to get a lot of ground balls, and certain percentage after a walk will turn into double plays, but some are going to go through for base hits. But somebody is hitting him when he has a 2-10 record and ERA well over 6 as a starter.
Last win was back on August 15th. A 9 ERA over his last 2 starts as Peralta looks at strike one. He's a former 66th overall pick back in 2006 by the Oakland A's.
Johnny Peralta struggled against him. He's 1 for 10, but hit well against Arizona in his career.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Peralta with a base hit out to left. Inciarte will get it back into the infield, and the first 2 have reached here in the top of the second. Time now for you to tweet your photo using the hashtag STLFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. And right away, they're out to visit with their young right-hander, Trevor Cahill.
Mike Harkey's the pitching coach here for Arizona. And of course, the new general manager, Dave Stewart, will have a review and talk about all these coaches and see how many of those guys will lose their job.
The starters for Arizona on whole have been pretty good lately. They've allowed 3 runs or less in 21 of their past 27. So decent starting pitching. Their offense has been suspect, especially when Goldschmidt went down.
Now, this is a ballpark at times become very explosive. But they say that Arizona's had trouble scoring runs lately. And Yachty with good numbers against Cahill.
Hitting .285 this year. Runners at first and third. Nobody out. And a double play ball, but that'll score a run. 4-6-3 on the double play. Cardinals get on the board. That makes it 2-1 Arizona.
Feels a little better, doesn't it?
Relief.
No RBI, but 2-1. You cut the lead there in half, and all of a sudden you feel a little better about the Cardinal offense.
So the walk comes around to score, and it brings in Randall Grichuk.
I met Randall's parents and sister today. They checking in the hotel right after me. Say they watch every one of our games.
Grichuk has been earning his playing time, to say the least. 7 for his last 18, and that's way outside. 2 balls and no strikes.
Very intriguing, isn't he?
Oh, I'd say so.
He plays so good defense. He's got the speed out there defensively. He's got the strongest arm of the Cardinal outfielders.
Make a case he's your best defensive outfielder right now.
And he's starting to contribute offensively a little bit.
On 3-0, I wouldn't mind turning him loose.
I think today's game, you just ask guys to be disciplined. You know, even if it's a strike, you know, look for something in a certain location, certain place. And if it's not there, take it, even if it's a strike.
3-1 pitch. And a walk. Second walk in the inning.
Let's hope it pays off like the first one. Turned into a run.
There are 2 guys in this lineup that really stand out that you think have got to pick it up and get it going. And one of them being Colton Wong. I think Matt Adams being another.
I think so. And Colton Wong 0 for his last 10. Maybe the worst thing that happened to him is hitting a few of those home runs. He's got a little pop, as Jim Hayes would tell us.
Usually after a day off, he comes back and puts up a pretty good number. A high fly ball lifted into left field. Inciarte makes the catch. Cardinals get on the board, and it's 2-1 midway through 2. Tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, and as you know, there's always little things that Tony has little rules about. For example, he refuses to say that the Diamondbacks are his team. I asked him why, and he said he hasn't done anything with them yet. He's got to win, then they can be his team. As for facing the Cardinals as they try to clinch, he admitted there is some irony. He says if the Cards were playing anyone else, he'd be pulling for him, but he wants to win. As he put it, quote, if we beat them 3 straight, we're a better team than I thought, and the Cardinals aren't as good a team as I had thought, Dan.
Nick Ahmed is at the plate. And how about his immediate future with his manager? You know, he's got Alan Trammell in there right now, but he fired Kirk Gibson today.
Well, I mean, obviously he wants to put his fingerprint on this team, and he did it in one fell swoop. And as you guys point out, there was a chance that La Russa could have been in the dugout managing this team on an interim basis. He said that was never an issue, and as he put it, he said they already have motivation enough, meaning the Cardinals, so he wasn't going to do that, Dan.
24 pitches for Michael Wacha in the first inning. It brings in Didi Gregorius, the shortstop, that hits from the left side. But and there's a look at Dave Duncan, who's also a special assistant to Tony here in Arizona. But Jim, how about Michael Wacha and what the Cardinals are expecting to see from him tonight?
Well, Mike Matheny said he's seen some positives from Wacha, including better command of his fastball. Maybe not tonight. As for that Wacha changeup, which you guys talked about, which has been AWOL, Mike says the changeup is all about feel. He says you can throw all the sides in the world, all the bullpens in the world. You won't know about your changeup until you were out there on the mound. And Dan, so far, we haven't seen a lot of Michael Wacha's changeup. I think 4 or 5 so far.
That pitch at 94 miles an hour. And I know you had a chance to visit with Michael this past week. How was he approaching this start in terms of tonight, but also looking ahead to the postseason?
Well, he's excited, and he said he feels physically strong, though he thinks there are some command issues he was working through. He was excited and optimistic about tonight's start. And as for plans for the postseason and whether he'll be in the starting rotation and or the bullpen, he said that's not up to him. All he can do is go out and pitch, Dan.
Base hit into right center field. Gregorius can really run. Turns around first. He'll stop there. All right, Jim, thanks. And a 1-out base hit for the 8th place hitter brings in the pitcher Trevor Cahill, who owns 4 sacrifices this year.
7-game hitting streak for Gregorius. And also, by the way, it's Dave Duncan's birthday. Turned 69 today. I talked with Dave. Tell me about both Shelley and Chris.
Well, Tony may not want to get back in uniform. I'm curious if Dave would want to do that.
Well, I didn't ask him. But
hey, you think about it, Al, you're in uniform for most of your adult life, and all of a sudden you're away from it. Last time that we saw Dave Duncan was in St. Louis in 2011 in uniform. And, you know, it's tough to walk away from it.
And Dave told me that, or the people told me around here, that he was in uniform every day during spring training, and kind of just sat behind the cages and watched the pitchers, and has done a lot of work in the minor leagues. Probably a lot of assessing of what they have and don't have. But kind of the consensus, it sounded like that the players felt like they needed a managerial change. The fans wanted a managerial change. A lot of them were saying, you know, the worst thing could happen was they would keep Kirk Gibson, but now they're completely changed. And I found it quite interesting where all the Cardinal coaches, you know, went over to say hello to Tony, but it seemed like an awfully long conversation with Jose Oquendo.
I'm sure his name will be brought up. Mike Eldreddy. You've got Mark McGuire. His name certainly could be brought up. Maybe even a Mike Gallego. There's a strikeout of Cahill. And the first strikeout of the night for Michael Wacha. With Tony La Russa, here's some of the notable players that he's had under him as a player and what they're doing now in the big leagues.
Pretty good baseball people there. Interesting that Dave Stewart, you know, owned his own player agency, and Kemp and Chris Carter, some other notable players in, you know, his stable, but now the GM.
2 outs and a pitch that's taken inside and low by Enciarte. Scored a run back in the first and singled. Came in on the RBI and the sac fly by Trumbo.
And, you know, Dave Stewart, most people remember what a great competitor he was, but pretty much was a journeyman early in his career. But really became one of the outstanding starting pitchers later in his career for Oakland and Toronto. But he was a pitching coach. He was an assistant to the general manager. So he's had a lot of different hats that Dave has worn. And I'm sure he still put a little fear in some of those players.
Get that mean stare. There's a base hit into right. Gregorius on his way to third. Runners at the corners for A.J. Pollock. Gary LaRocque, by the way, was considered heavily for that GM position here in Arizona, but he'll go back to St. Louis. There's a look at Dave McKay, also the first base coach here in Arizona. Another good baseball man.
Right. So, you know, Tony had a pretty good pulse of what was going on in that clubhouse, even when he was sitting upstairs.
A.J. Pollock walked and scored back in the first. He's reached safely in 19 of his last 20. What are you seeing from Michael Wacha here first time through?
You know, just inconsistency. The ball kind of up a little bit, not really hitting his spots, not having, you know, these secondary pitches, which after an injury, they're going to be the last things to come.
Little tapper foul.
You know, Dan, it's, you know, once again, you have a 6-week spring training for pitchers. You don't need that much time for position players, but you do have to go through a couple different phases as a pitcher. Now, a lot of times you'll feel good as you start throwing, then all of a sudden you start stretching your arm out. You kind of go through a dead arm stage. You got to keep on throwing to build up the arm strength. And the last thing that's going to come is going to be your secondary pitches. And that's what's happened with his changeup. I also think Michael Wacha this offseason worked so much on his curveball that I don't think he ever had the real good release point on his changeup this season, even before he had the shoulder problems.
2-1 the count. One thing I noticed about the graphic that we had up with the notable players under Tony La Russa, that looked to be guys from 1989 and that championship A's team. There are a lot of other players that, you know, have had an influence in Tony's life and vice versa that are in Major League Baseball. We mentioned one of them right over there. Dave McKay is the first base coach.
Sure.
So there's a number of them.
They go all the way back to one of the senior advisors here, Roland Heeman.
Right. The 2-2. The previous pitch, you like the changeup?
Yeah, the changeup there. We showed it there in slow-mo, and you know, he had the real good arm action. He got it down at the bottom of the strike zone. It had movement, tailing away. Just trying to incorporate the cutter a little bit more here because the curveball's a little flat.
The 2-2. I'll throw you another name that's out there that I think would pique Tony's interest. What about a Joe McEwen?
I've heard that too. Joe McEwen, Super Joe. And, you know, it's just, there's not a lot of superstars that make good managers. Trammell was an outstanding player in his own right. But a lot of these bench guys, like Tony, you know, they're the ones that really work at it, learn, sit on that bench, ask a ton of questions, and it seemed like a lot of them become the really good managers.
With what we're seeing, at least thus far, I'm not sure it's enough to say Michael Wacha should be in your postseason rotation.
Not yet, but you sure would like him to be there.
You bet. 3-2 pitch, and the bases are loaded for the second time in this game. The second walk issued to Pollock, third walk by Wacha. Don't miss a minute of the postseason excitement at Busch Stadium. Tickets for potential wild card National League Division Series and National League Championship Series games in St. Louis. They're on sale now. So make sure you're there in the sea of red for all of the action. Tickets at cardinals.com/postseason. Strike 1-2. David Peralta walked his first time up. If there is a tie-breaking game, that'll be Monday at Busch Stadium. And tickets are still available for that game against Pittsburgh, potentially. You win the next three, you don't worry about it.
Exactly right.
Here's the 0-1.
What is alarming, though, is the Cardinals are just not playing good baseball against sub-500 teams. And offense has been a problem. You can see right there that they're going to go call the bullpen. Do have plenty of arms down there and long relief.
1-1 pitch. it's not only is he missing, but he's missing by a lot on some of these pitches.
That one, at least there, you saw great movement, but movement out of the strike zone. Jason Mott would get you through the inning, and then Greenwood would.
Here's a ground ball to the right side. Adams to Walker. Gets out of the bases loaded jam. Chase Field in Arizona. Roof is closed tonight. The paneling has also been shut. And so the ball, they say, doesn't travel quite as well as when the paneling is open. We shall see.
Or is it close to 100 degrees today? And I think they're expecting big thunderstorms later tonight and tomorrow.
Earlier start time tomorrow and on Sunday. 1 ball and 1 strike on Michael Walker, who's hitting .037. It's Walker here, then Carpenter and John Jay. 2-1 Arizona. And neither starter with very good command tonight. Two balls and 2 strikes. Cardinals scored their run with runners at first and third, nobody out. Molina hit into a double play, and Matt Adams trotted home. Second strikeout for Trevor Cahill. You can visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at cardinals.com/shop for the largest online selection of authentic MLB postseason gear. So get what the players are wearing straight from the source. Cardinals.com/shop. Here's Matt Carpenter, grounded out to second to start the game. Carpenter leads the club in runs, walks, and on-base percentage. He has 95 walks this year. That's first in baseball. As a matter of fact, he has walked in 5 straight. That drops in for strike 2.
Keep that on-base percentage up with all those walks. He's hit in 3 games. He's 4 for his last 11.
That's the thing. You look at the average at 272, but then you see the walks and the on-base percentage and the runs scored.
Leads all National League leadoff men in runs scored. That's a key component for a leadoff hitter.
You bet.
And it seems like when he gets on base, things start to happen. Doesn't it also seem like our offense recently has been bases loaded walks and scoring on double ground ball double plays?
1-2 the count. Outfield is straight away in center, and out in left, Inciarte is near the line. Big gap either way. The tail's in and misses. 2-2.
Cahill was one of the top young pitchers in the American League before coming over here.
Chop to first, Mark Trumbo. And Carpenter is hitless in 2 plate appearances tonight. The Cardinals this year on the road have struggled offensively, and it's been hit and miss, home or road. But on the road, the Cardinals are 27th in runs in Major League Baseball, last in home runs on the road.
Their runs are down. They've 610 runs on the year. You like to kind of score near 800 runs, but Cardinals are really, it's almost real simple playing in game 160, and we're about 160 runs below last year's total.
2 balls and no strikes on John Jay.
Cardinals played a lot of 1- and 2-run games.
And in the second half, they won the majority of those.
Yep.
Which is a sign of a playoff team. 2-1. You win those close games, and then win the games that you should, which you're talking about against lesser teams. You're a playoff team, but they have not done that against the lesser teams.
No.
The difference that they've made this season is what they've done inside the division.
And we warned people, or at least advised people. It's like Marco Gonzalez now throwing, but we warned people that this team was going to have trouble when they're playing these clubs with nothing to play for.
In the air out to center. That'll stay in the ballpark. A.J. Pollock is back in front of the track and makes the catch. 1-2-3 inning for Trevor Cahill. Many believe that Dave Duncan there on the left, Tony La Russa on the right, already in the Hall of Fame, but that Dave should be in there as well.
Well, I think that if you start having a category for coaches, Tony would be the one lobbying the most, but you also would have to put George Kissel in there. Those two forged a friendship as they were young prospects with the Kansas City A's.
Our evening with Tony La Russa a couple of weeks back, was talking about Dave Duncan, and Dave back in the mid-2000s was asked, with all the guys that you've seen that swung on and missed by Trumbo, and you had one game you want to win, who would it be? Out of all the people you've seen or coached, he said, give me Chris Carpenter, one game. That's the guy. You can understand why.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe a good start to this inning, and Walker can build off it.
Cardinals had Marco Gonzalez up and throwing in the pen. They've had Nick Greenwood. They also had Jason Mott. Miguel Montero.
It looks like Gonzalez is still throwing in that bullpen. There's a young lefty. Jason Mott would get up to get through an inning, but a young starter like Gonzalez would start an inning clearing.
Good breaking ball there. Now, what if Walker comes out the next 3 innings and is lights out and intrigues you and
that's what you're hoping for.
Teases you.
Look at that good drop in that pitch right there.
Here's an 0-2. I mean, we wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't for a guy that was unbelievable and historic at times in his performance and what he did a year ago.
You're absolutely right. I mean, what he was just incredible, and hopefully we can duplicate that. And I'm sure with a full off-season rest, and he'll come back next year, but we're hoping he doesn't have a full off-season. We hope he's still pitching late next month. He's got the curveball right. You can see, how he throws. He's 6'6", but he throws in a downward plane. Such an exaggeration with his motion, and gets on top of the ball.
And the 1-2 is hit out to center. There's Jay for out number 2.
Michael Walker is 6'6", so it's easy for him to throw in a downward plane. But you see how he arches the back and just kind of comes over the top, and then you just see that torque on the elbow. You got to cringe right now with your bad elbow, Danny, when you see that. But to see some of those slow-mos and to see somebody who's not wearing sleeves, it's you just ask your body, how do you do that?
It's amazing. Time and time again, the torque that's put on the elbow. 1-0 the count on Jake Lamb, who hit into a double play his first time up. 2-0.
Not that I want to see this, but if you've ever seen a pitcher that's without a shirt and see him do his motion, and then you see the elbow, the shoulder, how much it just, the upper body,
the pectoral muscles,
right, everything just is contracted and contorted and just put strain and stress on every inch of the upper body. It's just abnormal to throw a pitch over your head.
3-1 the count. Cardinals have given Walker a lot of credit just to be pitching at this point, building up the muscles and the area around the shoulder. His injury so unique. Brandon McCarthy, formerly of the Arizona Diamondbacks, now of the Yankees, a very similar type injury.
And then I mentioned today that we were looking in the media guide where Cahill had a stress reaction, but it was to his non-throwing shoulder.
Well, Walker comes back to strike out Jake Lamb and picks up his third tonight. 2 in the inning. We played 3 here in the desert. 2-1 Diamondbacks. The pool just beyond the right center field wall here at Chase Field. Matt Holliday leads it off. Most seasons with at least 20 home runs and 90 RBIs since 2006. Cabrera, Pujols, and then Holliday. Matt has enjoyed this season his 9th consecutive year with 20 or more home runs. Currently the active players, Ortiz with 13, Cabrera with 11. The Cardinals record, by the way, is Albert Pujols. He had 11 in a row. Stan the Man had 10, and then Matt Holliday now with his 9 currently.
Pretty exclusive company.
Here's a 1-0. Holliday with 90 driven in. That's 6th best in the National League. Adrian Gonzalez leading the senior circuit. The Dodger first baseman with 112. The 2-0. Ooh. The changeup had him out in front, and it's 2-1.
Cahill has a very good changeup to go along with his sinking fastball. Cahill's fastball really right around the 90-mile-an-hour mark. Change up around 77.
The 2-2. I don't know about you. If they would have pulled Michael Wacha after 2 innings, it wouldn't have shocked me at all. I mean, this is such an important game, and Wacha clearly in those first 2 innings was not sharp.
He was not sharp, and they were covering for that, but I think you're also thankful that you didn't have to do that. And we'll see how Michael Wacha will go out and see if he can add to his good 3rd inning. You got to check your egos at the door right now. Nobody can't pad your own personal numbers. It's all team numbers right now.
Leadoff walk and 3 walks issued by Cahill.
Just asking for trouble, aren't you?
They say that when Cahill is right, and obviously he has not been this year. Remember Brandon Webb and how good that sinker was?
Yep.
They believe his sinker is to that level. However, his control obviously is not. Well, the shift is on here for Adams, 3rd baseman, moving over to the second base side of the bag.
We haven't seen many of these shifts in the second half for Matt Adams. Matt 0 for his last 6. Excuse me, 0 for 5. He walked and come around and scored, but see him outside pitch, see if he takes it to left. Gets pretty good rips at it. Remember, he had pretty good numbers. He was 1 for 2 with a double off of Cahill. And I agree. You got to get Matt Adams swinging the bat well. Wasn't that long ago he was one of the league leaders with his .311 average. But it's been going downhill.
And a high fly ball lifted into center. Pollock back. Makes the catch for the first out. Holliday stays put at first base. Brings in Peralta, single to left for the Cardinals' lone hit thus far tonight. It's taken in the game in style. Probably takes you back out when you first broke into the league.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I talked to a Cardinal fan that's come up here for a bachelor party this weekend, and he said that they tried to rent in April. They tried to rent for this game tonight or tomorrow. They tried to rent the pool. He said it was already sold out for the year. So they are going to be 20 of them stationed someplace behind home plate. And they said it's in the contract. You cannot wear Cardinal apparel. You could wear red, but you can't wear anything with a Cardinal insignia. It's in the contract, immediate ejection. And I don't know if it's that area right behind home plate or not, but they don't want that seen other team colors by the cameras.
So just only behind home plate.
Right.
Not in other parts of the ballpark.
The box area right behind home plate. So we'll see 20 Cardinal guys. They said maybe in the 9th inning they'll bring out their stuff.
Wow.
Right there behind Yachty.
Here's a 2-1. I don't know, just a thought. Maybe don't worry about that. Trying to pick up win number 64.
You got problems when you're worried about those things, don't you?
Man. 2-2 the count on Peralta. Short lead at first by Holiday. Just missed.
Johnny just 2 for 10 off of Cahill, but he's hit better than 380 against Diamondbacks in his career. Matt was leaning on that pitch. Got to generate something, don't you? Got a ground ball pitcher. You don't want to hit into a second double play, so just hope Johnny gets a pitch that he can protect him. I told Peralta he's going to hit 2 home runs tonight.
(3-2). Runner goes, and it's tapped foul. Trevor Cahill, 3-12 this year. Nearly a 6 ERA. He now has 55 walks in under 110 innings pitched. He's owed $12 million next year. Another check on Holiday. Alan Trammell, one of the great players in Detroit Tigers history. Remember for a while the veterans that they had on this staff, from Steve Sachs, Kirk Gibson, Alan Trammell, the list goes on and on. Ground ball that's pulled foul.
Just barely. Matt Adams had won, Matt Williams, Washington's manager, at one time was on this staff too. But Alan Trammell, when he first came up, he and Lou Whitaker were the double play combination for Detroit. And I mean, seemed like they were about 19 years of age. And where they grew into being an outstanding double play combination. Played together for a long time.
Gibson and Trammell, part of the '84 champions of the Detroit Tigers, defeated San Diego in that series. Start Holiday again, and Peralta lifts it out to deep left field, backing up and making the catch. Inciarte. Holiday back to the bag at first. The Cardinals want to remind folks that if we do have a tiebreaker game on Monday, that is not sold out. Those tickets are on sale right now at Cardinals.com. And if the game is not played, those who buy tickets will be refunded, including any ticketing fees. So there's about 33,000 that have been sold right now. Still plenty of seats available for that potential tiebreaker game against Pittsburgh on Monday.
We don't know the time yet, do we?
We do not. Back to the pitcher, Cahill. Yanni slams his bat. And the Cardinals strand a runner, their second of the night. Here for the bottom of the fourth. He's had some help along the way. Twice the bases have been loaded against him. This was a 1-4-6-3 double play. He just got a piece of it. Then in the second inning, pitching out of a jam here with the bases loaded. Third inning, much better with a couple of strikeouts. Pirates have won tonight. You know, we talk about Michael Wacha and what's going on with his night. Of concern right now, the offense against Trevor Cahill, who has been less than spectacular.
And you got to expect it in postseason, you're going to see a lot better pitching. Cardinals are going to go as far as their offense will take them.
Nick Ahmed
won the 2013 minor league Rawlings Gold Glove Award, top defensive shortstop last year. And he finished 5th in the PCL with a .312 average, including 26 doubles, 4 homers, and 47 RBIs in 104 games.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Molina sets up low and inside, hits his spot. There's Peralta. One away. Well, that's 5 in a row set down by Michael Wacha.
And that's what you hope. That's what Mike Matheny and Derek Lilliquist were hoping, that they kind of get over the hump after the second inning and go out there and maybe put up some zeros.
Cardinals 18-22 on the road this year against teams that have a losing record.
And, you know, I think what Mike Matheny's talking about right now is he's due up third. Do you let him, if he keeps on pitching like this, go ahead and stay in this ball game?
Let's just say he has the second and third out, then deals with the top of the lineup. The top of the lineup has been on base 5 out of their 6 plate appearances for Arizona. 0-2 the count on Didi Gregorius. And the 0-2. To the count. Tigers lose at home. The Royals win, and the central of both these leagues still not settled in the final weekend.
So Kansas City is trailing Detroit now by 1 run, 1 game with 2 to play. Cardinals need to win this game to stay 1 game better than Pirates with 2 to play.
Lifted in the air to center field. John Jay under it. Out number 2. Don't miss a minute of the postseason excitement at Busch Stadium. Tickets for potential wild card, National League Division Series, National League Championship Series games are on sale now. You don't want to miss it at Cardinals.com. Look at that commercial there in the bottom left. There's David Freese. That's Ozzie. Reenactment of their famous home runs.
You're the director?
I was not, but I just seen that stance before. 2-0 the count. On the pitcher, Trevor Cahill, the pitch count from Michael Wacha at 78.
Mike Matheny said that Michael Wacha will not be on a pitch count today. Described it as full gorilla. He goes long as hard as long as he's pitching effectively, but see the perspiration on his jersey.
And Cahill lines out to second base, and a nice leaping grab by Colton Wong. Headed to postseason play. I mean, they have got power arms.
I don't care if the Cardinals play the Royals or the Angels. You all right, Brett?
I'm in.
We'll be in the World Series again.
I'm in.
How can we not be for that?
By the way, through the team's media relations department, the Reds reached out to the Cardinals, Brian Price, then to the Cardinals manager about why certain players weren't playing. Devin Mesoraco, Aroldis Chapman is out, Billy Hamilton, and explaining to the Cardinals that these individuals are dealing with certain ailments, and that's why they weren't available or not playing tonight. As Grichuk takes a pitch high. Here's the deal, though. Win 3 games, you're in. Don't worry about what Cincinnati's doing.
Yeah, just take care of your own business. And Mike Matheny, maybe a little frustration in Chicago, said, well, we haven't got any help from anybody all year. Why should we expect some now? So it's in the Cardinals' hands, and that's where it should be.
Little tapper foul. The Cardinals in search for just their second hit tonight. And that's right now major concern. I mean, talk about walk all you want, and a lefty is getting loose in the pen, but the Cardinals have one hit against Trevor Cahill, who has at times been awful to the point that he was designated for assignment earlier this year. Now, how about you? I haven't seen anything really overpowering from him here tonight.
Not at all. And once again, as a starter this year, he's 2-10 with an ERA at 6.28.
Just got a piece.
He's walked 3 and allowed the 1 base hit. The Cardinals got their run. Walked to Adams, went to second on a wild pitch, went to third on Peralta's base hit, and scored on Molina's ground ball double play.
The 2-2 is hit sharply but foul.
Go out there, even when you think it's foul, go out and try and make that play, execute it, and then let the umpire, third base umpire, tell you whether it's fair or foul.
Here's a 2-2. Taken just a bit high. Well, with the lefty continuing to throw in the Cardinals' pen, you get the feeling that Michael Wacha's night is through. That didn't miss by much. And a 3-2. Grichuk chops it up the middle, and a seeing eye base hit. The Cardinals' second hit tonight. In 3 of the 5 innings, they put their leadoff man on. Now, can they do something with it?
That's it. And remember, we talked about Cahill. He's a ground balls pitcher, good sinker. Wacha is going out to the on deck circle, but that doesn't mean he's going to hit, or it doesn't mean he's coming out of the game. But Grichuk just bounces it through. And when you got a good sinker baller, you know you're going to give up some hits, but the next ground ball could turn 2. And Wong need him to get back to hitting line drives.
Nobody out, and a check on Grichuk.
And you think about guys like Colton Wong and Matt Adams, they're really playing every day for the first time. And you play 5 months in the minor leagues, you play 6 months in the major leagues. And that last month can really take a toll on the young players.
On the hands of Wong, 1 ball and 1 strike.
So your arms get a little tired. You drop your hands. You're getting underneath. And you're hitting a lot of fly balls.
A.J. Przinsky just grabbed a bat.
He's had quite a few at bats against Cahill in the American League days.
Here's a 1-1 instead of check on Grichuk. Well, the Cardinals know that Pittsburgh has posted a win and that first place is on the line here tonight. That sense of urgency. Will we see it before the night is through? Wong to second. Double play. Double play. Second double play turned by the Diamondbacks tonight.
There's Maloney. Randall Grichuk got there, started talking about his move, but he also said don't get doubled up on a line drive. Take your secondary lead, just a rocket, and can't get back. I said get Colton to hit line drive, didn't I?
And he did. Hit a bullet. Here's Waka now hitting for himself.
Scoring opportunity. They would have probably pinch hit AJ. But with 2 outs, nobody on, Waka gets a chance to go out there and
in my mind, it's a risky move. I mean, you look at the top of the lineup now. Waka has settled in, but he's had his issues with the top of the lineup.
Well, and I think what you're going to find, Dan, is they're trying to get him through, but they also primary number one is to win this ball game.
End of story. That is it.
But they will have a reliever. I'd be surprised if Mott or somebody does not start the inning with him and get ready if he gets in any kind of trouble because of the success the top of the order's had against him. And he's also now his pitch count is at an area where he hasn't been, since injuring his shoulder.
Strikeout number 3 for Trevor Cahill. Team season tickets, they're on sale right now. If you put an order down for 14 season tickets in terms of the postseason, Cardinals.com/season. That cute little fella's having some fun here at the ballpark tonight.
Happy baby. Maybe he knows something we don't.
Let's hope.
Dan, let's a little bit what we were talking about end of the inning, and Michael Wacha is over 80 plus pitches, so more than likely his last inning of work, and the top of the order is really giving him fits. You can see that they're all ready to go down there, but Mike Matheny trying to stretch him out, trying to get him to around that 100 pitch mark and hopefully put up another 0. He has retired 7 in a row.
It's 7 in a row, but it looks like if he's going to go to the bullpen, you're looking at a Gonzalez or a Lyons, and 2 of the first 3 in this lineup hit from the left side. I think they would prefer the young pitchers that are accustomed to starting to start the inning.
Right.
I mean, he's not going to go any more than this inning.
You wouldn't think. His efficiency has been, it's 84 pitches, so he's right around 20 pitches an inning. And this is the first time in his 4 starts since coming off the DL that he's gone beyond 80 pitches. Further your case.
What a neat moment that must be for Kansas City, celebrating for the first time since 1985. Little tapper back out in front of the mound, and Wacha makes the play. So that's 8 in a row sent down by Michael Wacha.
And Mike Matheny and Derek Lilliquist are saying that I know everything you're talking about, Dan, but we're going to get that 1, 2, 3 again, and we're going to really feel that much better about it. Pirate fans here, Kansas City fans. A lot of transplants out here. He thought he was going to make a pitching change.
Almost fell out of my seat. Here's A.J. Pollock, and he lifts one to center field. That'll stay in the ballpark. Going back, John Jay.
Had him way off balance, hitting off his front foot. Watch here, and a breaking ball, and you see him off balance out there reaching. A little harmless fly ball to deep part of the park. What if he gets Peralta out here in a pitch or two? Now you're talking. Maybe we will send him back out.
And again, it's this is baseball. Everybody has an opinion, and it's easy to make these guesses. Hindsight 2020. But it's just part of the situation that the Cardinals are dealing with right now.
Yeah, and like you said, if this is in April or May, you extend him and you don't think about it.
Right back out there.
Yeah. But right now, you're already trailing.
Boy, you got to love to see that. He strikes him out. 4 strikeouts for Walker tonight. He has set down 10 in a row. On Fox Sports Midwest, Lance Lynn. It's Wayne Miley. Miley's 8-12. Lynn is 15-10. Lynn could have gone tonight to keep him on normal days rest. I don't know if you agree with this too, Al, but in watching them push Walker, and I think it's a push to an extent, is that maybe it tells you what they're thinking, the guys down in that dugout, about Michael Walker and how badly they want him in the postseason in the rotation.
Totally agree with you. You would have to say that that's why they're pushing him, is that they want to build up that arm strength. They want to see, and as this game's gone along, he's gotten better and better, and he's retired 10 in a row. Dan, whether you're a rookie or a veteran, you never know how a guy's going to perform in postseason. And sometimes even maybe the first time you get there, you fail, but you'll get labeled. And maybe that's not fair to somebody that.
There's a base hit into center by Matt Carpenter.
But the one label that Michael Walker has is that he can be a star performer in postseason when the pressure's on.
What a great label to have.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine, and that he won the clinching game for the Detroit Tigers in 1968. You met him already in Cincinnati. And John Warden won that game. Well, it was in August, but he had it on his resume that he clinched the pennant-winning game. And as he got older, he probably pitched for 4 more organizations because they said, "Oh, look at he won the clincher," and he had that on the resume because everyone's thinking it's this time of year.
John Lackey.
Yeah, but he won 2 World Series.
Well, I'm not taking away from his resume, but
yeah, but it's that same thing.
Sure,
big game pitcher. And John Warden used to talk about that '68 team, saying he and Denny McClain won 34 ball games.
Denny won
31. But he was truthful.
Runner goes, and it's hit out of play. Well, you like to see that in a night where the Cardinals have just 3 hits. They're trying to get something going here. The Cardinals now, in 4 of the 6 innings, have had their leadoff man on.
Well, that's it. Cahill's flirting with danger. He's walked 3 in this ball game. Now the Cardinals have 3 hits, but they've hit into 2 double plays, 1 ground out and 1 a line out. So you've got to have that runner moving, and you'll take your chances.
Will Harris, a right-hander, throwing in the bullpen for Arizona. No activity for St. Louis.
Michael Walker's getting stronger, and Cahill, even though he's pitching and leading 2-1, you would have to think that he hasn't gone past 6 innings in about 4 or 5 starts.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Jay. And that's a base hit into right. Carpenter to second and stops there. That might be one of those instances you want to see Matt Carpenter head to third. Instead, runners at first and second, and a chance for Holiday. I thought for sure we'd see Carpenter at third base.
Well, remember, Peralta was a pitcher in the minor league system, and he hurt his arm, and so he tried to be a position player. And here he's playing the big leagues, but Carpenter just didn't feel comfortable enough. Didn't want to run into an out at third with nobody out here in the Cardinals' sixth.
I think the Diamondbacks are sensing the same thing that we've been talking about. This is Trevor Cahill with an ERA close to 7 at home, and
yeah, you've been lucky to get him through this far. But
I wouldn't be surprised, and wouldn't have been surprised if they would have gone to their bullpen here with Holiday coming up.
And Holiday came in 4 for 10 with 3 home runs against Cahill. He's 0 for 1 tonight in a walk.
So they're going to roll the dice here and pitch to Holiday with Cahill. And the first pitch is taken for a ball inside.
You would think that Matt's going to get a steady diet of sinkers. Got the 20 home runs, the 90 RBIs, but he's hit into 20 double plays. He's also been so clutch all year.
And a 1-0 pitch to Holiday. And you talk about those sinkers. It may play right into the hands of Matt Holiday. And you mentioned the good numbers, but low ball hitter.
Exactly.
Sinker ball pitcher.
You know, I'm sure there's times where he can get the double play off of Matt's bat, but there's other times where he's throwing that sinker and he can drive the ball. And remember, he's got 3 home runs, so you get that ball up just a little bit, and Matt will crush it.
The 2-0 pitch. Holiday with a fly ball into shallow right. Peralta makes the catch. That's the first out here in the 6th inning, and it brings in Matt Adams.
Cahill needed a big pitch against a dangerous hitter, and he gets it. Bottom is even a ball below the strike zone. Had him off balance and couldn't hit it deep enough for either runner to advance.
You know, we saw Carpenter hesitate going to second base because he was faking running to second, and you wonder if it was straight up, if he'd be at third base, or would have been at third base on that base hit. Here's Adams. Now, also part of that equation is that you do have Holiday, Adams, Peralta coming up.
Sure, and I don't know if Matt Carpenter was on third base, whether he'd been able to score on that shallow fly ball.
Probably not.
Probably, I wouldn't think so.
Not with that arm that we just saw.
But press the defense, and remember, they have 100 errors on the year.
Matt Adams is due. Two balls, no strikes. Holiday on a 2-0 pitch, flied out to right. Cahill wanted that one.
It's lucky that ball wasn't become a souvenir.
Just get the feeling they have him on the ropes. 4 hits aside. 2-1 Arizona. 2-1 the count here on Adams with runners at first and second.
It's about time for the big man to launch.
And time is called. Two-one pitch. Adams, base hit into right. Carpenter froze to make sure that that got through. And the bases will be loaded for St. Louis.
And tough break right there for Carpenter, to where he was looking. He couldn't tell if that ball was going to be caught by the second baseman or first baseman. Kind of a low liner, goes splits them, the two defenders.
He should be home.
Well, he should have been able to read that one. Yeah.
I still think he should have been at third previous. Regardless, bases loaded. The base hit for Adams, and it brings in Peralta.
Mike Harkey, the pitching coach, out to talk to Cahill and the entire infield.
You just hope that doesn't come back to haunt the Cardinals. Non-stop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2014 postseason beginning September 30th. Bases loaded here for Johnny Peralta. And with Cahill on the ropes, they'll deal with Peralta. 2 for 16 in this spot. Can the Cardinals shortstop come through?
Andrea said he's going to hit 2 home runs tonight.
That might be one of them. Out to center. To the track, to the wall. It's off the wall. 1 run will score. Here comes Jay. They'll wave him in. Throw is way offline. The Cardinals have the lead. Peralta to the wall and center. And it's 3-2 St. Louis. Oh, did they need that?
Missed the slam by a couple feet. And Alan Trammell's going to make a pitching change. Nice going, Johnny Peralta.
From the Arizona perspective, you have to just wonder if they left him in too long. I mean, you could see he hadn't been great all night. They pitched to Holiday, pitched to Adams, pitched to Peralta, and they got burned. With a double off the top of the wall in center. It's 4:07 to dead center field, and he crushed that baby. And with that, the Cardinals have the lead.
So he'll challenge him here. Johnny has that little uppercut swing off the center field wall. So John Jay will come on home. Follows Carpenter. And that's a go-ahead run right there. 3-2 Cardinal lead. And 2 more runs out there for Molina to pick up right now against Harris, who's been pitching very well of late. 15-game scoreless streak.
Infield is in. First pitch to Molina. Adams, who rounded third, had to scurry back to the bag as that throw is way offline on the relay. And the Chevy called to the pen. Will Harris take away the season numbers and go back to what Al just told you. He's been pitching arguably the best out of their pen. Molina with a fly ball into right. Peralta is back and makes the catch. Adams will tag up. So will Peralta. Johnny to third. Adams to the plate. 4-2 St. Louis.
We was talking about this offense wasn't scoring. Just getting one key hit leads to many more.
The bullpen ERA. The chance of let's go Cardinals. I wonder if that's on that contract they signed too.
I think they can help that.
Randall Grichuk with a runner at third and 2 down. A nice pick there by Montero.
Pick rather than a block. And a lot of those picks will go through. Grichuk with his parents and sister in the attendance tonight.
He has walked and singled to center. The Cardinals go with Michael Wacha through 5. Sam Freeman has been throwing in the Cardinals pen. And give Wacha an awful lot of credit as he set down the final 10 that he saw. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Either Freeman's arm is awful sore or it looks like it's Randy Show. Freeman's dropping down.
Here's the 0-2. Swung on and missed, and a strikeout of Grichuk. However, the Cardinals play 3, and with that, they pick up the lead. A bases loaded double by Johnny Peralta off the top of the wall in center. That scored 2. Molina the sac fly. Cardinals on top. They're happy now. We have a new soundtrack to that. So Michael Wacha is back out there. He's set down 10 straight. And who would have thought this after watching the first 2 innings?
Exactly right, but the way he's performed, retiring the last 10, you like to see it, and they're just going to go maybe batter for batter with him. Both the lefty and righty are warming up for the Cardinals.
Pitch count at 92 for Wacha. Mark Trumbo has a bases loaded sac fly and then struck out back in the 3rd.
No, other hand. Yes.
Here's Coach Payton.
Good. You get that foot down.
Working with the future stars of the Diamondbacks. I think I saw Tony La Russa out there too.
It's called the squish the bug foot. When you swing, you squish the bug. Okay?
So the drill
squish the bug. Point to it. Point to squish the bug foot. Show me squish the bug.
Here's a 1-2. Hit out of play. Mark Trumbo has had some big seasons while with the Angels.
Well, last year he hit 34 home runs and 100 RBIs. Those type of seasons from the big man. But he's got holes in his swing too. You're going to get a lot of strikeouts on top of it.
Outfield is deep and straight away. Seth Maness now up and throwing in the Cardinals pen. The 1-2 pitch hits his spot, doesn't get the call. As this game has gone on, the control has improved too for Michael Wacha.
And I think that's what everyone was hopeful of. You know, he fought through the rough 2 innings.
And a base hit to left.
And that'll be it for Michael Wacha.
With Montero set to dig in, Mike Matheny goes to his pen. Randy Choate will come in. So Michael Wacha pitches into the 6th. Now it's up to the pen. 4-2 St. Louis. And straight. Then the leadoff hit this inning by Mark Trumbo to left. And now it's Randy Choate. He's in to face Montero. Lamb, who hits from the left side, is on deck. We'll see if they want to go with a pinch hitter at that point. And if so, you may see Randy Choate just face one hitter.
Randy usually, when he faces one lefty, does a pretty nice job. Opponents are only hitting .218 against him. Well, he only had problems with Chicago Cubs this year.
It was good to see the other night. He came in against Anthony Rizzo and did the job. Talking with Randy before the game, he was in Arizona late with the club and then flew out yesterday, went to his off-season home, which is in Vegas. Came back in today. But as you said, Al, if he faces that one lefty more times than not, very, very tough because of that pitch right there.
And Dan, I think hasn't been used as much as he would prefer. And of course, he wants to pitch every day. But he's been pitching a little bit more recently, and I think the numbers indicate that he's doing the job at the right time.
Good job, Randy Choate. Carves up Montero. Choate glancing over into the dugout of the Diamondbacks to see if they would pull back Lamb. They have not yet.
Keep that ball out there. You're not going to get any hurt at all. Get these hitters to swing at it.
And really, Al, it's tough for Mike Matheny to get Randy Choate into some of these September games. I mean, Montero makes sense. You're not going to pinch hit for him. But a guy like Nick Lamb, you might.
Yeah, and that's...
Or Jake Lamb, I should say.
Both of them.
Why not?
Yeah. But, you know, you're right. And that's why sometimes, you know, it's great to have a left-handed specialist. But if you can't get right-handed hitters out, you know, you're in trouble. And I think Randy has gotten a lot better at getting righties out since he's been here.
Little chopper back to Choate. Goes to second. Out there. And no turn of the double play. Clean baseball as Trumbo went hard into Peralta.
It's a big man going in there, and he slid properly. And you like that, too, that Johnny Peralta doesn't, you know, try and make that force a throw and risk the possibility of throwing it away. Get the lead man, and now Mike will go to Seth Maness.
So Randy Choate facing the two lefties does the job, and now it's Seth Maness, who's had a tremendous season coming on. 4-2 St. Louis here in the bottom of the sixth. You covered Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Our post-game show will be on Fox Sports Midwest after every playoff game. Jim Hayes will be in the stadium. Pat Paris. The rest of our crew will break down the game action from Ballpark Village. It's the coverage you'd expect from your home of the Cardinals. Fox Sports Midwest.
72nd appearance for Seth. And the longer the season's gone on, the better he has gotten. He had a tough spring, but because of what he did last year, you know, he makes the ball club and just couldn't get his sinker down or his changeup. But of late, he's been ground ball after ground ball.
A good movement on that pitch down and in to Nick Ahmed.
Mentioned he was the Gold Glove winner in the minor leagues last year. Rawlings Gold Glove winner at shortstop, playing second base tonight.
There's your ground ball. Hit to second. Colt Wall. Bullpen, nice work. Leadoff hit by Trumbo. Montero struck out. Lamb. Fielder's choice. Ahmed, a ground out. Ball in St. Louis. Every day the Cardinals play this postseason. Get a Big Mac or quarter pounder with cheese for just 25 cents when you buy one at regular price. 25-cent Big Macs and quarter pounders. A Cardinals postseason tradition. Maness gets the final out for St. Louis in the sixth. We're in the seventh now. Oliver Perez in our Chevy call to the pen. Yes, that Oliver Perez that started game 6, or rather game 7 of the 2007 or 6 NLCS with the Mets.
He's not still alive, is he?
He's here. What do you always say about lefties?
If you have a heartbeat and a breaking ball, you can pitch forever.
And here's Oliver Perez.
So I guess we proved to everyone I don't have a heart.
Well,
but I also didn't have a breaking ball.
You don't want me to answer that. You know, Perez was so highly thought of for a long time, too. Remember, as a young pitcher in the game, he was considered one of the top young up-and-comers in all of Major League Baseball. He's been around a long, long time.
Reinvent himself as a reliever.
You'll notice that his delivery has changed a little bit. Working from the stretch now and leading things off, Colton Wong. Xavier Scruggs will be the hitter. He's on deck after Wong, who is lined into a double play and also flied out to left.
Last time up when he lined into the double play, I mean, he hit that ball right on the nose, and that's what you want to see instead of getting underneath the pitch. And that's what he also has to do, is lay off that pitch up and in. There's a little the El Tiante from Perez, who always kind of had a little flair with his delivery, but as you said, he's kind of changed it a bit.
What he's done, you see him close to being a side armor, but he'll drop below 3/4.
And he turns all his back all the way. You can read the entire number on his back if you're the hitter. So they lose sight of the release point, the deception there, and that'll make up for diminished velocity as the ball gets on a hitter a little quicker.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Colton Wong. Little tapper, slowly hit right side, tough play, and Wong beats it out with his good speed.
That time he didn't turn his back all the way around. Colton got a good look and just perfectly placed swing and bunt.
Cardinals pulling back Scruggs, and now you'll have Borges pinch hit. You think about the potential of speed in this combination with Wong and Borges. The Cardinals may have a little fun.
Off to the races once that ball got by Oliver Perez. It's a base hit. Good effort by Ahmed, but speed of Wong too much.
Colton Wong with 20 steals this year. He's been caught 4 times. Those 20 steals leads the club.
Yeah, Montero's thrown out about 24% of base stealers. He's also committed 12 errors. You got to think a high percentage of those are going to be throwing errors.
You'll notice the move of Oliver Perez has improved as well. That's another factor of his move to the bullpen.
You can
Diamondbacks talk about.
He lifts the leg straight up, so he's in a position where he can go to first base. And a little quick pitch.
First pitch was a strike to Borges.
I see Oquendo just flashing down signs, and I want to see some movement here, whether straight steal or hit and run, bunt and run, steal and run would want, but get some movement. You got your top base stealer at first base, another guy with great speed at first.
Pushes it up the first base line and a foul ball. 0-2.
Peter wanted to say hello to his former teammate, Trumbo. Oh, take the bunt off. Kendo going to come down and talk to him verbally. Peter's at home. He went to high school here in the Phoenix area.
And an 0-2 pitch to Borges. Instead of check on Colton Wong.
Now Lou Brock would tell you, okay, I've seen the move 3 times now. I've got to figure it out. If he sees him move one time, Lou knew what the key was and how to steal off a pitcher.
Little bit high.
Ooh.
And Borges looked like He was ready to head back to the dugout and potentially have no argument. Watch this. And he starts heading toward. Nope. All right, that's a ball. I'll stay in.
You know, sometimes you fool the batter and the umpire.
How many times then do you see a guy get a hit after that? So he lines it foul in the seats.
Sometimes it tells you better swing at anything close. Mentioned Lou Brock. If he saw a pickoff move one time, he could get the read. And the guy that he could never steal against was Don Gullett. For one reason, Don Gullett never threw to first base.
Couldn't get a read.
Couldn't. And always felt like this was going to be the time.
Lou signed a ball the other day that he put the date on it with the 40th anniversary of his stolen base record. It's hard to believe it's been 40 years. Available over at Cardinals Authentics. Neat piece. That pitch in the dirt.
Still got Gibby's ball over there.
Still have a few of those baseballs. The Gibson balls are available, and also the Brock baseball, which is the newest addition to it, but the 40th anniversary baseball at Cardinals Authentics. They come up with some really cool stuff. Now, you'd have to think that Colton Wong is off with this pitch. Let's see. 3-2. Not running and fouled back.
You know, if you don't get a good read, you know, you can't fault somebody for not going. But I think it's in one of those cases where Mike Matheny wants Colton Wong to not be afraid to make a mistake. And young players this time of year, sometimes they're going to play really safety first. They're afraid to get thrown out, or sometimes you have to have that arrogance just to go.
And he walked him. So an infield hit. And now a walk to Borges. And who knows, he may have thought he was struck out, and instead he's standing at first and nobody out for the Cardinals in the top of the lineup.
But I think it was also the threat of Colton Wong stealing forced the issue where he was all over the plate trying to guard against the stolen base, that he sacrificed going to the plate and end up walking Borges.
We don't talk about that enough, how pitchers become rushed because of the speed of a Colton Wong, or let's say a Billy Hamilton, how he can disrupt a game. Matt Carpenter got it all started for the Cardinals last inning with a base hit to center. Then Jay singled. Holiday on a 2-0 pitch, flied out to right. It was a base hit by Adams that loaded him up for Peralta. He doubled in two. And then Molina the sac fly. That made it a 4-2 St. Louis lead.
And a lot of times when the low part of the order gets things going and turn it over to Matt Carpenter, Cardinals will score in crooked numbers.
Third baseman is Lamb. He's in on the grass and near the line. Trumbo is charging over at first, and the outfield is straight away. A lot of room to the left side of the infield. A pickoff, and Wong is back in safely.
Because of that pickoff, the bench and everyone gets a read of what the intentions are at Carpenter at the plate. There's DeGoria sneaking in behind Colton Wong.
Nobody out. Carpenter showing bunt, and they throw it into center field. Wong on his way to third. Borges to second.
And that's what I said. Montero has 12 errors prior to that one, and a good percentage have to be throwing errors, and he picks up his number 13. That breaks that streak of 10 scoreless or 10 straight errorless games for the Diamondbacks. Throw way off the mark. Didi could have helped him out a little bit, but vacating the bag and kept that ball from going into center.
Runners at second and third. Count of 1 ball and no strikes.
At the infield in. Here's your crooked numbers. Crooked frame.
Carpenter is grounded out to second, grounded out to first, and a single to center. The 1-1. Off the glove of Perez, a run will score. And Carpenter makes it a 5-2 St. Louis lead. Air by Montero looms large. 5-2 St. Louis.
Carpenter picks up his 59th RBI. Cardinals now with a 5-2 lead. Might have saved a base hit and the ball up the middle, but slowed it down, and Ahmed was able to get to it and get the out at first, but not before Wong scored.
And Jay out to left, base hit. Borges will score. 6-2 Cardinals. John Jay comes through with RBI number 46.
Haven't hit the ball hard yet, but very effective. And John Jay, multi-hit game for him. Picks up another hit off a left-handed pitcher. Got a little jam shot, but muscles it over third base into shallow left field, and a run scores.
Oliver Perez is thinking, you've got to be kidding me. The infield hit, then he thought he had Borges struck out, and now it's 6-2.
Trammell's saying, I could be home. I don't have to torture myself here. A lot of evaluating going on here, looking at different things. And, they'll figure out a way to turn this into a winner.
And now it's 2-0 on Holiday with a runner at first base.
Oliver Perez has faced Matt Holliday 17 times. And he's got the best of Matt 15. Retired him. Matt's only 2 for 17 against him. Does have a home run, but just a 118 average.
Turn him loose on 3-0. And there's strike one. Ooh, he threw the bat. 3-1 to count on Holiday. Over to retrieve it.
That doesn't do that often, and that looked like a pretty good pitch. On the black, low to the plate.
And now there is the walk. So Perez has come in. He has allowed 2 hits, pair of walks, and the hitter will be Matt Adams. The Cardinals have received 5 walks tonight.
Now that's another aspect, Dan. The Cardinals hadn't been walking a bunch. And it looks like Matt's night is through. With Borges in the game, you got your better outfield, defensive outfield now. Garcia.
Number 35, Greg Garcia.
So Garcia is the runner at first base. Runners at first and second. Matt Adams has walked and scored, fly to center, singled to right and scored. And the first pitch is strike. The 0-1 to Adams. Here's the 0-2 inside. And Adams waves at it. First strikeout for Perez.
Break the ball there. Trammell's going to go to bullpen again. It's like Matt Seitz from Festus High School.
Lewis, as we play here in the top of the 7th, the Cardinals have scored 5 here in the 6th and the 7th combined. Michael Wacha pitched into the 6th. Peralta 2 for 3 with a pair of RBIs. Cahill 5 1/3, and Montero 1 for 3 with an RBI for Arizona. Matt Stites, the Chevy call to the pen, a right-hander, appearing for the 37th time for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
2008 graduate of Festus High School. Went on to attend Jefferson, Missouri College, and finished up at the University of Missouri. Originally drafted by the Cubs.
2 outs, 2 on. Peralta with one of the biggest hits of the night. His double with the bases loaded back in the 6th into center that scored 2. The 0-1 pitch. And a breaking ball is popped into right field. David Peralta is under it and makes the catch. Cardinals strand 2. And it's time to stretch. St. Louis on top, 6-2. Maybe he did know something. Sam Freeman, our Chevy called to the pen.
Sam appearing for the 43rd time, 2.43 ERA. He has 2-0 record. Opponents are hitting 226 against him. And he's getting more and more high leverage opportunities. One of the things you got to worry a little bit about Sam, and he got so much better earlier in the season, and that was cutting down on his walks.
Well, Sam Freeman, usually if he starts an inning, it's much better than coming in the middle of an inning. It's usually been the track record.
It's become kind of a lost art, hasn't it? Coming in the middle of the innings,
yeah.
Usually you rely on more of the veteran type guy to do it. And we had Russ Springer, did such a good job there.
And there's a strike. And a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Didi Gregorius. The one guy you say that does not affect one bit is Seth Maness. You know, he comes in all the time with a runner on.
Right.
And it seems like that's the only time you see him.
Yeah, you only want to see him with a runner at first base so we can get another double play ball.
1-2 the count on Gregorius. Single to right center and also flied out to center. Molina sets up low and away. And it's 2-2. Gregorius at one time was with the Cincinnati Reds in their farm system.
Read my mind.
The slider misses away. Pittsburgh has already posted a win. Cardinals trying to hold on and reduce the magic number. And a ground ball that's hit to first. It's off the bag. Of all things, off the bag and a base hit. So off the bag, then off the foot. And Gregorius is aboard to start the home half of the 7th. Cliff Pennington, a switch hitter, spent time in the American League with the A's, will pinch hit for Stites. They give Adams an error on that play. And now they've taken it back and said it's a base hit.
I think he hits bag. It's pretty hard to give a fielder the error.
So Stites, a third of an inning, and Pennington is 4 for 16 as a pinch hitter. The Cardinals have turned one double play. That was back in the first. And a 1-0 pitch. 2-0. Activity in the Cardinals pen. Three and 0.
Yachty out to talk to Sam Freeman. Got such good stuff, he doesn't have to be so fine. I'm sure that's what Yachty's telling him. Carlos Martinez.
Just caught the corner. 3-2.
Now just do the same thing. Don't aim it. Let it fly. It'll come right after him.
Fly ball left center. Borges, plenty of room. Makes the catch. Gregorius back to the bag at first. So Freeman, after falling behind 3-0, comes back to get the pinch hitter Cliff Pennington.
It's a great lesson for young pitchers. Just don't give hitters so much credit. Just go out and execute your pitches, but have the confidence that you can get the job done. Trying to be fine, he falls behind 3-0, and after that he started throwing strikes, and you let him hit it to the big part of the field. Not traveling well today.
And it is big out there, boy.
Yeah. We've seen at times where that yellow line at center field gets peppered quite a bit, but you got to earn your home runs to center field.
Now you think about the importance of a center fielder that can go get them in the National League West Division. Here, Colorado, San Francisco, as spacious a center field that you'll find in baseball.
Yeah. The old line is the home run line way up there. And
Inciarte falls behind 0-2.
Borges stayed in the game to play center. Jay moves over to left. And the Cardinals have their best defensive alignment right now in the outfield.
Can he put him away on 0-2? Little check swing, a broken bat, and it's a fair ball. Carpenter let it roll, and it winds up being a fair ball.
How about Sam Freeman getting luck right here? First hitter gets a base hit right over the first base bag, and then Carpenter lets that one roll and goes over the third base bag.
This is as unlucky an inning a pitcher can have.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Carpenter lets it roll and it goes right over the bag.
Gregorius, an easy read for him. And now Carlos Martinez coming into the ball game. Some tough luck for Sam Freeman. Runners at the corners. One out. Martinez coming on. A.J. Pollock greeted by a nasty slider from Martinez. Pollock twice his walk. He's also flied out to center. The Chevy called to the bin.
Forget about what Carlos did early in the season in relief or even in the starting rotation.
Up the middle, off the mound. Peralta makes the play, and a run will score. That time, hitting the mound, it benefits the Cardinals. I'm not sure he would have gotten to that if it didn't take a little trickier hop.
You know, really wouldn't hit that hard, but as you said, it did slow up enough for Peralta to get to it and make a fine play to get the out at first base.
Gregorius scoring the third Arizona run.
His only play is at first and just nips him at the bag. Peralta's been very, very steady. He made a bunch of errors early in the season, but really has settled down defensively.
6-3 and a runner at second base. And here is David Peralta, who has walked. Came up with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the second, grounded out, and then struck out in the fifth.
Talk about Peralta being a pitcher in the Cardinals minor league system, hurt his arm, went back to Venezuela, started working and trying to become a hitter, went through all through independent baseball. Last year he's at low A ball.
Chopped at first and foul.
He hit 346, I guess advanced A, but 346, 8 home runs, 42 RBIs, and 1 stolen base. And I find that interesting because they've said he's really given them a charge And one of the things that he did that's kind of electrified the team is he stole home in a game earlier this year.
And a fly ball lifted to center, and this should do it. Martinez will get the final 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. We head to the 8th. I'll tell you about some Cardinals history when we come back. Amarito Sports Update.
Now pitching number 56, St. Louis.
Yuri De La Rosa in our Chevy call to the pen. Lefty for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've got Joe Patterson down there, left from their left side of their pen. And Yadier Molina will be the hitter for St. Louis. I mentioned heading into break, I'd tell you about some history. Well, it was this date back in 1983. And we miss him dearly, but Bob Forsch pitched the second no-hitter of his career. He beat the Montreal Expos 3-0 back in 1983.
Only Cardinal pitcher in history to author 2 no-hitters, and his older brother Ken Forsch. They are the only 2 brother combinations in Major League history to both have at least 1 no-hitter.
Mentioned this many times, but if you get a chance to look at the all-time pitching charts of St. Louis in terms of wins and strikeouts and some of the main categories, obviously at the top it's Bob Gibson, and then right there in the top 3 of many, top 2 of some, Bob Forsch.
Yep, Bob Forsch, 3rd most wins. Jess Haynes in between Gibby and Forschy. And I'm positive that Bob threw at least 1 no-hitter in the minor leagues. But I had the chance to see Bob Forsch as a 3rd baseman, and I understand why they made him a pitcher. He was a good hitting pitcher, but and he really became an elder statesman of that team and really taught them how to win. And I think the one thing that I go back to the '87 playoffs with the Giants, and if it wasn't for Bob Forsch taking control, knocking down Jeffrey Leonard, Cardinals don't win that series.
Mr. One flap down.
One flap down. Cowbells, I think Cowtown, St. Louis was. Jeffrey was having a tremendous series, and then all of a sudden Bob threw one up and in or hit him and restored a little order, and then the Cardinals took over.
Often overlooked from that series was a dramatic home run hit by Jose Oquendo. And we talk about the great home runs hit. People forget about his home run as Molina hits the deck and strikes out.
Breaking ball in on him and tied him up. But yeah, Oquendo had an ability that if it was a Giant uniform with a left-handed pitcher, he was going to get a home run. And one of the worst swings you'll ever see Yadier Molina take.
Randall Grichuk and then Colton Long. 6-3 St. Louis here in the top of the 8th. It'll be Lance Lynn and Wade Miley tomorrow. Adam Wainwright on Sunday. Wainwright 20-9. It's Josh Colmenter 11-8. Clayton Kershaw's season is through, regular season.
Why don't we just save Wainwright? Wrap it up tomorrow night. And if the Cardinals win this game, the Pirates lose tomorrow, and the Cardinals can win, Wainwright, they can do whatever they want with it.
The 2-0. Big swing and a miss by Grichuk. Been on base twice with a walk and a single. How about the Kansas City Royals, one of your former teams, celebrating for the first time
1985.
Yeah, 1985. Congratulations to the Royals. What has been a long suffering fan base as well. And a good baseball town.
You know, it's a funny town where it's either the Royals or the Chiefs. They've never been good at the same time. It's always been one or the other. But absolutely a tremendous town, and happy for them.
3-1 pitch. Now 3-2. In on his hands and fouled back.
Little lefties from Santiago in the Dominican Republic. Listed at 5'9", 167.
As Randall Grichuk earned himself the position of being the everyday right fielder after this weekend is through. As he strikes out for the second time tonight. Or will the Cardinals continue with the platoon of he and Taveras?
I think it's kind of like Randall's getting a lot of extra playing time because of the defense. You know, at this time, defense weighs over a lot. When you're not scoring a lot of runs, you better not give up runs. And Neshek throwing there, but I think Mike's going to still kind of go with the hot hand. And Taveras has shown the ability to where he can come off the bench and get a key base hit for you as a pinch hitter. But I think if he got hot and Grichuk cooled off a little bit, I think you'd see more of Taveras.
Taveras has found himself in roles coming off the bench late and pinch hitting, and has done a really good job at that.
Exactly, and it's very valuable. You know, the Cardinals have had a weakness for several years of not having a strong bench, not having somebody on that bench where the other manager or pitching coach and pitching staff fears. And I think the Cardinals were hopeful they could get it on the waiver wire or get somebody, but whether it was Grichuk, you know, kind of did that for a while, and then we saw how well he could play defense. But Taveras has done an outstanding job, and so you got that little dangerous hitter. And I think that may be where A.J. Pierzynski maybe gets a little nod too, because he can put a little fear in somebody that he can come off the bench and may pop on.
Here's a 1-2. Up the middle, and Wong a base hit against a lefty. Hung in there just enough and singles into center to extend the inning to Peter Borges.
Yeah, Colton was 0 for 12 at one point in this game, and he's got 2 hits in his last 2 plate appearances now. Streaks follow streaks. You get cold, then you get hot. Bounces it up the middle, follows through with his swing, and let's see Peter get a chance to swing away here. Almost got Colt.
You know, a key point in this game was Peter Borges not getting a bunt down and then eventually drawing a walk. And in that at bat, we thought he had struck out, and Peter actually started motioning towards the dugout as if
and they might want to appeal this. They're going to appeal or challenge the pickoff. That's Bach and Bob Davidson over there, but he doesn't call him Box anymore. Colton's having nightmares. Couldn't tell when he got tagged, but it was pretty close over there.
The call on the field is that the runner is safe at first base.
very, very close play. We've seen a couple of the replays. As I watch more replays, the more confused I get. Sometimes I think they're safe. Sometimes then another angle shows it and I think out.
It's just working with me, Dan. Keeps you confused.
It'll do that to you, huh?
Yep. I don't know if it's enough to overturn it. Get a definitive answer as to whether he's safe or out. Most of the time on that, the call will on the field would stand. Obviously too close.
The season started with Tony La Russa as being one of the heads of the committee that instituted replay. The ruling is safe.
After video replay review, the runner is safe.
And Colton can breathe now.
Now you wonder if it's in his head a little bit down at first, seeing that reaction.
Well, and he didn't give him the good move there, so he's still saving the good move for him.
2 outs. The pitch to Borges is taken for a ball. Well, you're up 6-3. He wasn't stealing the previous time he was aboard. And you just wonder, after the near pickoff, how cautious he may be. A very short lead at first base.
Yeah, he's really shortened up the lead.
And Borges hits it out to deep left field. At the wall, and it's caught. Inciarte makes the play. Ah, yes, Cardinal fans here in the desert.
I know it's getting late back home, but see, Pat Neshek will come in for the 71st time. He's had a tremendous season. ERA 1.49. He's 7-2 on the year with 6 saves. Where would this club be without this contribution?
The Nats have clinched home field advantage with their split against the Marlins tonight. Trumbo hits it into center, and there's Peter Borges.
Our good friend Kenny Reeds, and one passed along that he'll be helping out a good cause benefit tomorrow from noon till 7 p.m. for a little 5-year-old Alana suffering from cancer. It'll be at the Bridgeton Ballpark Pavilion. And so go by and see Kenny Reeds, see if you can help out and help this young lady, 5 years old and suffering from cancer. Nice going, Reeds.
Miguel Montero. That's fouled back. Pitch at 88 miles an hour.
Montero's become a pretty good offensive weapon. Picked up an RBI today. That's 72. 13 home runs, but only hitting 244 this year. Last year he hit 318. Really, it's increased his home run total by a couple, but almost not that far off from doubling his RBIs.
Pat Neshek, if we've seen anything, is that first inning I love that pitch, that changeup to the lefties.
I
But
do too.
if we've seen anything, is that sometimes if you extend him a second inning, he'll have a hiccup or two. But that first inning, man, oh man, is he tough.
I think that's kind of a byproduct of guys today thinking they're only going one inning. And
Adams knocked it down and may have had a play but didn't throw.
I think he did have, but he must not have had the handle on it, because Neshek was there in plenty of time with the catcher running.
You know, he got up and got to the ball, and Neshek doing what he's supposed to do. Go coming back. Let's see here.
So Kendo's saying you got time, and I think if he would have thrown it, he would have had time to get the out there, but may not have had the handle on it and didn't want to risk throwing it away. Hard hit ball. He got a piece of it, slowed it down, and from that angle it looked a lot closer. And that's the angle he was looking at.
Popped up left side and out of play. Lamb is hit into a double play. He struck out, rounded into a fielder's choice.
There's a young man that was in rookie ball and A ball a year ago. And playing his 36th game here at the big league level this year. Trevor Rosenthal starting to throw, but I'd like to think that Neshek will get through this 8th inning and Rosenthal the 9th, and those guys will be on pace to throw and pitch in all 3 games. And then they'll have Friday to rest.
And that's hit out of play. One and two the count. The pitch hits up and hit out of play again. Three out of the 4 divisions have been decided. There were different division winners than a year ago. Only the Dodgers have repeated, but Detroit and St. Louis are both trying to accomplish that same feat. And a base hit. Knocked into right on a changeup that just floated up in the zone.
Yeah, it was too high and just slowed everything down, left it up, and that ball's not going to fool too many guys. But
Second baseman,
What's cooking for the Cardinals, brought to you by Farmland Foods. We'll come your way tomorrow at 6:30 St. Louis time on Fox Sports Midwest. Lance Lynn and Wade Miley. Lynn's final start of the season, trying to become a 16-game winner. Little floater into shallow center. Borges broke back and it drops in. And the bases will be loaded.
didn't see this happening, did you?
Yes, sir.
Give it Diamondbacks a little credit. They're trying to impress their new general manager. Playing hard, and there's a little flare. And Peter didn't get that good jump on it. I'm not sure he would have got to it either way, but makes it a little more interesting.
Didi Gregorius. He does have 6 home runs this year. Bases loaded.
Gordon Pacheco is on deck, but right now Neshek wants to get a double play ball off the bat of Gregorius.
And a 1-0 pitch. Again another floater. That'll drop. 1 run is in and will score. A second run. The tying run is in scoring position. Go-ahead run is at first. Pacheco will be the pinch hitter.
So right off the end of the bat, so that ball's not going to carry, and then it's on into left center also. So Montero, that's Lamb there, but Lamb comes across. Second run.
There's 2 plays the Cardinals could have taken a chance on. One being the ball that was knocked down by Adams. Could have got him at first, and Borges would definitely have had a play at the plate. Now, he did not want that second run to score, obviously, but he didn't want to put the runner at second and third with just 1 out. Popped up. Peralta. He's got it. Inciarte will be the hitter with runners at first and second.
Inciarte is 3 for 4 tonight. Extended his 13-game hitting streak to 14 with a base hit in the first.
Now, this is one of those situations, if you had Rosenthal on a roll, he might be in there right now and get one of those 4-out saves. Or maybe even a case of a 5-out save.
Well, you worry about him now because he's warming up, and you're 1 hit away from a tie ball game.
So 2 outs, runners at first and second. Out of play.
One of these times that late in the season, Mike Matheny has really tried to, have one of the guys for the 8th and one for the 9th.
Out to deep left. This is trouble. Ground rule double. The Cardinals catch a break. This game is tied. Five hits allowed here in the 8th inning by Neshek.
Right, they do catch a break where Gregorius will have to go back to third base.
A.J. Pollock and Neshek still in the game, and it's 6-6.
Inciarte is 4th hit.
And a strike to Pollock. Cardinals will have the top of the lineup coming up. Again, the importance of this game. A base hit, and Arizona is on top. 0-2.
Now,
are you surprised that Pat is still in this game?
Yes. Now I think you've sat down Rosenthal and you've got somebody else up in case you need to go get him this frame. It's Jason Mott.
The 0-2.
Been some squirrely little hits, but 5 hits is 5 hits.
Popped up. Backing up Wong. The Diamondbacks have tied it up here in the bottom of the 8th. 6-6. Game, Addison Reed, the Chevy call to the pen.
'61st appearance for Reed. He's their closer. He's got 31 saves. He enters a tie ball game. He also has a 1-7 1-loss record.
The strike to Carpenter. Big Cardinal fans Tim McGrail and Dan Wilcutt taking in the action tonight. They want to say hi to family and friends, and hopefully Tim is recovering. Very serious ordeal for Tim McGrail. Never misses a game here on Fox Sports Midwest, so get better, Tim. Carpenter, Jay. We'll see what direction the Cardinals want to go with at that point. That'll be Pat Neshek's spot.
Reed has come from Chicago, where he was the closer for the White Sox. He's 25. He's already had a 40 save season. That was last year, 40 of 48 save opportunities.
And a strikeout of Carpenter to start the top of the 9th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jay, fly ball into center. 2 down. And Oscar Taveras will be the pinch hitter.
Took a Holiday out for a pinch runner. You thought you had a comfortable lead, but you never know going down the pennant stretch. This is the time that we want to see Taveras to come through. And he's done a nice job as a pinch hitter.
2 outs, nobody on. And the first pitch taken by Oscar Taveras is a ball.
Six for 15 as a pinch hitter with 5 RBIs.
1 ball and 1 strike. You felt so comfortable going in the 8th with the lead that the Cardinals had, and now it's tied up at 6-6. Cardinals have been out hit 12-9.
Well, you're absolutely right. Trevor Rosenthal on your right in case the Cardinals get the lead. And Greenwood.
Marco Gonzalez.
Boy, how many times he been up today?
In the dirt, 3-1. This is where you ask Oscar to be selective on a 3-1 pitch. and a chance to drive it.
Marco, I know he was up in the first and second, wasn't he?
At least one of those times for sure. A 3-1 pitch. Ground ball to first.
Ninth appearance. He made 5 starts in those previous 8. There he is pitching in relief on a night where he warmed up very early in this ball game as Michael Wacha was shaky through the first 2 innings, but really settled in and pitched good baseball and really showed you the type of fortitude and type of pitcher he was last year in the postseason as he's coming back from injury. And here we are, we tied 6-6 and bottom of the 9th inning with their 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up.
To think the Cardinals caught a break on a ground rule double.
Yes.
I mean, big break last inning that would have led to another run. Cody Ross will be the pinch hitter. Two balls and no strikes.
Cody's in .310 in 16 games since returning from the DL on September 1st. He's got a career .304 average against the Cardinals and a .357 average as a pinch hitter. He's 4th best in the majors. Well, he started the season with a dislocated right hip.
Here's a 3-0. He was trying to end it with one swing.
I was going to say, it's the, he's one of those veteran players that got a pretty good idea. And a lot of veterans don't like to hang around a long time, so if you can end it in one swing, they're going to try it.
Leadoff walk. Winning run is aboard.
First baseman, Mark Trumbo.
The Diamondbacks will pinch run.
Right for Cody Ross, number 62, Brett Jackson.
And Jackson, who's their only left-handed bat off their bench, they've already used a switch hitter in Pennington, will be the pinch runner. Here's Mark Trumbo.
It's Arizona's first look at Marco Gonzalez, so they'll rely on scouting reports. Kind of interesting, Dan, that here you are in the 9th inning, you bring in Marco Gonzalez, who's had a whirlwind season, last year's #1 draft pick, but a guy that warmed up so early in this game.
And right now can't find the strike zone. 5 pitches, 5 balls.
Not like you don't have other options down there.
The 1-0 pitch. There it is. Strike 1.
One thing we've seen from Marco, though, you're not going to scare this young man. Playing very, very deep. Nothing over their head that stays in the park.
1-2 the count.
Trumbo trying to end it with one swing. A good pitch up and in. Tying him up.
Diamondbacks picked up 3 runs off of Pat Neshek in the 8th on 5 hits to tie it up 6-6, and a quick move over and back in safely is Jackson. Two and two. A changeup could get your double play and your ground ball. This case out in front, in the air. They're playing so deep, who wants it? And Peralta makes the catch. The outfield is about as deep as you can possibly play with the no doubles defense.
And boy, they were both hustling. John Jay and Borges really hustling, but as you said, they were so deep. And Peralta did what he's supposed to do. Go back on it, stay in until somebody calls you off, and nobody called him off. So a high towering fly ball, and Johnny makes the play.
Miguel Montero. 2 singles tonight, a run scored and an RBI. Struck out against Randy Choate and also lined out. 1-0 pitch. Cardinals had Waka pitching into the 6th. We saw Randy Choate, Seth Maness, Carlos Martinez, Pat Neshek, and now Marco Gonzalez.
Bullpen has been so reliable, and they've allowed 4 runs in this game.
A short lead at first by Jackson. The 1-1 pitch on its way. Popped up again. Carpenter or Peralta. Johnny wants it. He's got it for out number 2. Well, give the kid credit. Walked the first man. He's got the next 2 and now needs 1 more to send us 2 extra innings.
That's what you say. You know, I mean, he's very, very solid and, you know, not going to scare. And I think he's done leaps and bounds just from. We saw him early in the season. Made major league debut in Colorado. He's come up with a cutter, a more efficient breaking ball to go along with that very good changeup. And he usually has very good control with his fastball.
Lamb, a little bouncer towards third. Carpenter will go across the diamond. Offline.
Yep.
The winning run now in scoring position.
Matt Adams did the right thing right there. The throw was offline, and he vacated the bag. Got the short hop, made sure it didn't get by him. We'd be in a worse situation with runners at second and third.
15th error for Carpenter.
Forced the throw, and that's what I'm talking about. Adams, get away from the bag, stop that ball, keep it in front of you, don't let it get through. It's up to Marco to pitch around that mistake. First error by the Cardinals in this ball game. They're 86 of the year, 15 of them by Carpenter.
Nick Ahmed. And now the outfield comes in. Jackson is the runner at second base. Fouled back. Ahmed tonight with a base hit off of Nishek in the 8th. Grounded out twice and is flied out to right. The 0-1. Changeup misses out. You think about how the Freeman inning went. Base hit off the bag, slow roller up the third base line. Nishek giving up the 5 hits. I can't remember a time that's happened, maybe once this year.
Yeah, I mean, we gave up 4 runs in a game, and that's been the first time since I think 2007 for Nishek. And sure, there were some flares and quails, and not hit hard, but it's baseball.
The Cardinals don't hold on to win this game. You look at yourself and you say, man, did we blow it? I mean, it's the kind of game that is in your control.
You got to look in the mirror, but you can't dwell on it because you got to come back out tomorrow. But this game's long from over.
Good change up, down and away. 3-2.
Pretty good 3-1 pitch.
You bet it is.
Outside, and young hitter trying to do too much.
Gonzalez trying to send us to the 10th. 6-6 our score here in the bottom of the 9th. Got him with a changeup. Back-to-back changeups. And Gonzalez, one of the biggest strikeouts of the night. And Matt Carpenter's off the hook. Cardinals had been 75-5 this year when leading after 7 innings. Evan Marshall is our Chevy call to the pen. His 56th appearance. And the Cardinals will send Adams, Peralta, Molina to the plate. How about the young rookie back-to-back changeups against a right-handed hitter with the winning run at second base?
Well, you know, that's his best pitch.
Sure.
And so it made sense, especially after he got the good 3-1 after that. It was just the right call to make. You know, if he takes it, it's ball 4, but you're going to swing it. And that is such a good pitch. You know, a young hitter against that pitch, right pitch, and you got the desired result. We go to extra innings.
Now Matt Adams. 6-6 game, and Adams hits it out to right on a line and off the glove of the right fielder. Adams digging for 2, in there safely, and the Cardinals have the go-ahead run in scoring position.
That's Jackson, who stayed in the ball game to play right field. Brett Jackson, who pinch ran, and the ball got over his head, and now we'll have a pinch runner. Descalzo's going to run for the big man, Matt Adams.
They rule it a double. Adams puts the Cardinals at least in an opportunity to take the lead here. Off his glove.
Just off the webbing, top of the webbing. Descalzo now at second base, pinch running for Adams. Johnny Peralta's had a big game. 2-run double back in the 6th inning when the Cardinals scored 3 to take the lead. Can he give him the lead again?
So Adams reaches base 3 times tonight. Peralta, first pitch taken low for a ball. Listen to the Cardinal fans here in Arizona. The 1-0. Peralta, base hit. Here comes Descalzo. Redbirds back on top. 7-6.
3 RBIs for Johnny Peralta tonight. He didn't hit my 2 home runs, but I'll take his 3 RBIs and second lead.
Johnny Peralta has given the Cardinals a 7-6 lead.
Add on. Just drops that bat head and ball middle in, and Plugs the gap out in left center, and the Cardinals have the lead once again. And Molina.
Little chopper to the right side. Peralta, who is running on the play, advances to second base. What a night for the Cardinals shortstop. Rosenthal is up and throwing in the pen. I will go back to it. Arguably the two biggest pitches in this game. The 3-1 changeup, 3-2 changeup by Gonzalez. Huge.
Well, that's what I said. You know, he young, but well beyond his age. You're not going to scare him, and he got the call that, in my mind, was the right call. And you know, when a catcher puts down that changeup, and all of a sudden it reinforces what you want to throw, then you know you can get him out.
And now it's Randal Grichuk. One ball, one strike. Grichuk has struck out twice. He has walked. He has singled. Peralta, the runner at second base. The check swing. He did go. The emotions of late season baseball. The 1-2. 2 down, and the hitter will be Colton Long.
Second baseman Colton Long.
Pittsburgh posted a victory earlier tonight, late in their game against Cincinnati. Now they want time, and they get it. They're going to intentionally walk Colton Long and pitch to Peter Borges. Borges lined out to left, and a hard hit ball nearly out of here. His last time up, he's also drawn a walk and scored a run.
Put base runners on. We'll take that.
Looking ahead, by the way, to the bottom of the 10th. Gregorius, pitcher spot. Inciarte. Rosenthal. Plenty loose by now.
Borges was telling me before the game, he used to come here with his dad. His dad was scouting. Sit here in the stands. He went to high school here. Big crowds. And he was ready to do something spectacular in his hometown.
Runners at first and second.
Actually looks like he's got some nasty movement.
Late too.
Yeah.
One ball and one strike. And that's kept in front. Nice play.
Nice play there. You're right. Taro a couple times kind of picking at it, but this time he uses his body and uses the chest protector to keep the ball in front.
We forget this time last year, Trevor Rosenthal had 4 saves in the big leagues. She took over for Edward Mujica. Mujica had 37 saves. Trevor wound up the regular season with 4 and then was used in the postseason. Now a chance here on a 3-1 count to do some damage for Peter Borges.
How many times have the Cardinals in postseason have the starter, or excuse me, the closer that they use just about all season doesn't finish this season in postseason with them?
Borges, ground ball deep in the hole. Gregorius to second. Out.
Mike Matheny's going to challenge that one. Go either way, so why not? Very close.
At this point in the game, with everything on the line, I mean, there's no reason why you wouldn't go for it here. It's a big call one way or another. The ruling is out. Save opportunities. What's alarming, the amount of walks. 42 walks. And with only 44 saves, he could have that rare combination of more walks than saves, being in the 40s department.
And it's happened a few times. I know Mitch Williams was one. Billy Koch, Mitch Williams, and we'll see about Trevor. But it's one of those things, you know, you have to be aware of it, and you want to bear down on the very first hitter, but you can't dwell on it to such a degree that you put it in your mind that you're going to walk people.
I think what you get concerned about is that he hasn't pitched in a week, so.
And you don't have your.
Yeah, how sharp are you?
Yeah.
So Didi Gregorius leads it off against Trevor Rosenthal, with the Cardinals leading 7-6.
He's had a good night, 3 for 4.
All singles. And the first pitch at 98, a strike at the knees. I've mentioned this many times, but Rosenthal has been much more effective on the road than at home.
It's hard to figure that out. Now, I do have a neighbor of mine that has the theory that he started struggling at home when they started turning on the lights and the music and everything else coming out of the bullpen. That's as good as any theory.
This is out number 1. Borges is there.
Now you relax a little bit, but not too much, as you got to bear down now on the second bout. Goes Witch. Backup catcher will hit here.
1 out. First pitch to him. A strike at 98. Cardinals hold on. Potential is there to possibly clinch tomorrow. 100 on the gun. Seeing that swing on that pitch makes you think he'd go back to the fastball.
Of course, that's what makes it so tough, is when he's got a good curveball and a changeup going.
Fastball, and does not get the call.
There are times when somebody throw him 98 to 100 miles an hour and he's reluctant to throw the fastball.
Here's a 1-2. Ground ball, backhanded. Descalso is there. 2 away.
Mike Matheny has tried to rest Rosenthal, and obviously pitching last Friday and not until again tonight. He's well rested, but late in the season, when he can give him sufficient rest, you can have that just overpowering stuff.
2 outs, nobody on. Ender Inciarte, earlier in the game, extended his hit streak to 14.
He's got 4 hits on the night.
3 singles and a double. They're on their feet here in Arizona. Fly ball out to deep left. That'll stay in the ballpark. Magic number is down to 2. Hard-fought win in game 1 of this series. The Cardinals hold on. 7-6 the final in extra innings.
Took a while, but it's all worth it to finish this one off and drop the magic number down to 2. As you say, you have the potential to win the Central Division with a victory tomorrow and a Pittsburgh loss. But Johnny Peralta was a big part of this win and kept those rallies going.
It wasn't pretty, but St. Louis will take it. And they're loving it here in Arizona. Post game comes your way next.